Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 1 on DraftKings is going to be here sooner than you think. And we have got to go over all the tight ends on that Week 1 main slate for your tournaments, for your cash games, for whatever. This is clearly going to be a shorter video than the running backs video, the quarterbacks video, the wide receivers video that really went long because there's so many of them. But tight ends, you don't really want to play all that many. So I've got a list of about 7 or 8 of them that I think stand out from the crowd to give you a better idea when you're building your early lineups on DraftKings for Week 1. As always, like, subscribe, ring the notifications bell, leave me a reply down below and let me know what tight ends you like for Week 1, and let's get right to it.
He's a legend.
I need to make sure that I tell you about the fantastic promotion that we have going on over at rotowire.com right now. You get a 10-day free subscription over at RotoWire right now. All you have to do is click the link down below in the pinned comment underneath. Drop a fave on that to let me know that you found it. You get 10 days of full access to everything that RotoWire has. rotowire.com/smizzle to get access to the 10-day free trial. Go give them a shot. Can't beat free, guys. I can't do better than free. So looking at Week 1, here we go. Right at the top of the salary sheet for 8,300 is Travis KELCE. I don't know what else I need to tell you about Travis KELCE. He's really, really good at football. They do face a tough defense. These totals are through the Super Bowl, obviously. Even in a game where Patrick Mahomes did not have his best outing, Travis KELCE still got 15 targets in the Super Bowl, 26 fantasy points. He had the most outputs over 15 fantasy points in the league. He was in single digits one time last year, and he had over 20 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's a freaking machine. Okay? So you know what you're getting when you pay for Travis KELCE. And in some weeks, it's restrictive to pay way up to get a tight end. And sometimes you can pay up to be contrarian. I don't know what the percentage is going to look like just yet. We'll find out that as we get closer to opening Sunday. But in the case that things kind of shake out between now and then, that people aren't going to play Travis KELCE, which is something I don't think is going to happen. Like he's not a guy who's going to usually fall below 15% on DraftKings in tournaments. But in the case that he does, you're paying up to be contrarian on a slate where there's so much value, you can easily afford him. So like, if you want to pay up at that position, whether you're going with Mahomes stacks, whether you're going with Mayfield stacks, or whether you're using him as a part of a secondary stack with one of those Cleveland players, whether it's going to be Chubb or Hunt or one of the 2 pass catchers between Landry and OBJ, Travis KELCE is amazing. Travis KELCE gives you leverage over most of the other players in the position who hope, if you play any other tight end, God, I hope he gets me 20 points. I really hope he gets me 20 points. Travis KELCE, you expect to get you 20 points, is a totally different animal. George Kittle, and you can see the difference in price when we drop from KELCE to Kittle, 2,000 difference. So like you're really paying up for a complete other tier. You're paying like running back, top tier wide receiver prices to go from one to the other. George Kittle facing off against Detroit, who they're not good at the things. It doesn't matter what things they're just not good at the things. And there's a high touchdown expectation for basically everybody on this San Francisco offense. However, they are somewhat limited in the amount of touchdowns that they're going to score, right? There's a finite amount of touchdowns that San Francisco is going to score in this game, regardless of the fact that they have a higher team total, with this game being around 45.5. So their team total is going to be around 28. So maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns in this game. Kittle could get 2 of them, or he could get none. Some can go to the wide receivers, some can go to the running backs. Maybe the defense scores a touchdown. So I think there's more risk here with George Kittle than we want to imagine. It does look like the sexy boy is going to be starting at quarterback for them, at least to start the season, Jimmy Garoppolo, instead of the amazing potential athlete rookie in Lance, who might take over later. Lance has not had a fantastic preseason. Aside from that 80-yard bomb, and he's had a couple of highlight plays, but like he's missed a lot of passes. He's missed a lot of reads. He just doesn't look like he's ready yet, aside from being a much better prospect and much better athlete. than Garoppolo. But I digress. Kittle's issue to me at this price is his projectable volume. He needs to score a touchdown to pay this one off. I don't think he's going to get there on volume alone, as they project to be winning this game by a lot, which means that they're going to slow it down and really lean on that running game. If he gets you value, it's going to be probably via a first half touchdown, as probably 8 targets is the maximum that he's going to see. I don't see this game shooting out very often, depending on how many sims you run of that game. TJ Hockenson dealing with an AC joint in his shoulder. We will monitor this injury as the days tick on towards kickoff Sunday, but 4,900 is too cheap for the amount of volume that he's going to get. Now, do I like playing tight ends against San Francisco? No, I do not. It's kind of a Kiefer Sutherland. No, I do not, I guess. But 4,900 too cheap for the fact that he should be able to receive 22 to 26% of the market share of targets on the Lions. The team is going to be playing from behind a lot, being in negative game scripts, meaning that they're going to have to throw it 35 plus times a game. So the sheer number of targets that TJ Hockenson could roll with this season is going to be enough to kind of, or should be enough on a week in, week out basis to help him reach value. There's just not a lot of talent at wide receiver. A core led by the Gazelle, Terrell Williams, going Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brett Perriman. Like, it's not a group of receivers you're going to toss the ball to a lot. So TJ Hockenson could handle a ton of the market share of targets at tight end, and 4,900 might be the lowest price that we see him at all season. Goddard, I think, is a little bit overpriced, especially with the presence of Hurst. Logan Thomas is going to see an awful lot of targets. The Chargers, not that great a defense, although it's a bad matchup for him if Derwin James lines up right across from him, as he is one of the best strong safeties in the league. It's going to be interesting to see what Logan Thomas can do. He will clearly be on the field a ton, and when he's on the field, he's not out there to block, leading the league in terms of routes run per dropbacks. So again, just like TJ Hockenson, I like the amount of routes that he's going to run. I like the amount of targets that he projects to get. The fact that the team invested in him as an asset this offseason, signing him to an extension, not unlike the Raiders did last year with Darren Waller coming off of his breakout year 2 years ago. Kyle Pitts is too cheap. I know that I've said all draft season that he's too expensive for me going in the 4th round of drafts in terms of his ADP, but this price right here, considering he's 4,400, plugging into a game that we do expect to shoot out against a defense that is probably ill-equipped to handle somebody of his stature and size and speed and combo and catching ability and catch radius and arm length and everything else, I'm not really expecting Kyle Pitts to have problems athletically in the league. Also, the Falcons are a team that throws it 35 to 45 times pretty much every game, and if he garners 18% of those attempts in terms of targets, and I think that that's a low percentage to expect from him. I think he's going to be 20 or above. I think that Ridley's going to be 25 to 30, being the alpha on that team, but Kyle Pitts can certainly kind of get after it. And in this game that could very reasonably shoot out, one of the sneakier shootouts on the board for me, not sneakier, it's a total of 48, but it's not one of those core games it's over 50, like Pittsburgh Buffalo's over 50, Arizona Tennessee's over 50, Cleveland Kansas City over 50, Green Bay New Orleans over 50. It's one of those games that's got a total of under 50 points that I think has a chance, at least a higher percent chance, of being the highest overall scoring game on the slate of those games that has a total under 50 points. So Kyle Pitts in a potential shootout for 4,400 with a solid market share of targets, and his size combination does lead him, his size speed combination does tend to lead to him being a big red zone and end zone target. So Kyle Pitts, big floor, big upside in this spot in week 1. Somebody else who has a good amount of upside at a similar price, 100 cheaper, is Noah Fant. Didn't practice Wednesday. That was from yesterday's price report. Monitor anybody that's got that Q next to them throughout the week leading up to week 1 when we get there. But Noah Fant, we know what he can do athletically. The same type of athlete, size and speed wise, as a Kyle Pitts. Doesn't have the arm or whatever. You know, like he's a lower prospect than Pitts, but like athletically, he's a freak. And going up against the Giants. So I think there's 2 guys that are going to get a ton of targets for this Broncos team. One is Jerry Jeudy, who we spoke about on the wide receivers video yesterday. The other one is Noah Fant in this spot, and only 4,300. So good floor of targets and really, really big playability. Somebody who has the athleticism to take one of those shorter passes from Teddy Two Gloves and turn it up and get upfield, and not going to get caught by defensive players if he gets free. So Noah Fant, big play upside, and also brings that, you know, that certain, I don't know what. Couple of cheaper guys that we can look at for this slate. One, Zach Ertz on the other side. I mentioned I'm not really high on Goddard as long as Ertz is going to be the prime dog in that, and Atlanta's defense not really all that great. Indy's defense is really great, but Gerald Everett stepping into a ridiculously prime role as the lead tight end one for the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, they throw the ball a ton to their outside guys, and DK Metcalf and Lockett, but at 3,400, we should get enough of a market share of targets here. And we've seen Russ Wilson make guys you've never heard of, guys who they scored touchdown, you go, who? At tight end, turn into something, from Hollister to other players before him that just weren't that, not Jimmy Graham, because he was good there, but like other players that when Jimmy Graham got hurt, jumped into that role, and all of a sudden they start scoring touchdowns because of how high-powered an offense this is led by Russ Wilson. So 3,400 seems too cheap there. The other one that seems too cheap, I mentioned how Tennessee and Arizona is a game that's got a total over 50. There's really only two places that the ball's going to go in terms of other pass catchers on this team for the Titans, and that's Julio Jones and that's A.J. Brown. Even with both of them healthy, and right now Julio Jones is kind of a question mark, Anthony FIRKSER at 3,200 will have a role on this team unless they bring somebody in off the street to be the guy and take reps, take snaps, take routes away from Anthony FIRKSER. So he steps into a very valuable role on a team that should be able to move the ball a lot, and play action works, especially when you've got the big dog running the ball and you have a great quarterback at play action like Ryan Tannehill. So FIRKSER on those play action, roll out to his right, West Coast offense sort of plays where they just hit the tight end on a drag coming the other direction or from the other side of the field. FIRKSER is going to get a lot of easy catches. He's not going to be a super high volume guy, but he's going to see more volume than he saw last year at the end of the season where we got into this. But so, well, we can't count on FIRKSER. I'm kind of counting on what we saw between like week 6 and 11, you know, week 5 and 11, where he's going to get somewhere between 5 and 8 targets more weeks than not. And at 3,200 for a tight end, that's good enough, especially when you consider his touchdown upside that comes along with him. Thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.